Good evening. I hope you all had a good day at work or wherever you've been today. I hope you've been having a good one. I've taken the weekend off to do some recharging and do some taking stock of things and getting everything sorted out. Bit of a heavy one on Saturday, so that's probably why I wasn't around on Sunday. But either way, if you like my content, subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to Patreon if you want to. If you want to buy me a beer or something, become a member of the channel. Blah 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 blah. Like the video, all that fun stuff. So today we're going to be going over some more of your horror stories because my god, I have not been at the computer for a few days and I come back and my inbox is full. So I've picked out the best that I think are really, really cool. Once again, I'm not going to mention names because a few of you have asked me not to. And a few of you have said, I don't care, but either way, I can't be asked keeping track of that, so I'm just gonna like blanket, just not say any names. So thank you all for sending me in your stories. A few of these are from local game stores, a few of them are from actual Games Workshop as well. So we'll go into them and get my opinion on them, and see what you guys think of them in the comments below. Let's get started, shall we? So, first one is from a guy called Pixelosaurus. Alright, cool. My story is when I went into to do some painting and converting of an Iron Lich Asphyxius to make him into a Necron Overlord. So some Space Marine player comes up to me and asks what base model I was using, and I said it wasn't a GW model, Games Workshop model. And he just shrugged and walked away. So this is in a Games Workshop, obviously. Seconds later, the manager comes up to me and asks me to leave. When I ask him why, he said because I was using non-Games Workshop models, I was suitably annoyed but left calmly. Okay, so number one, I'm afraid the manager has every right to ask you to stop what you're doing and put that away. For me, he's gone about it the wrong way and asking you to leave completely because then he's losing a customer. The best way to do it would be to say, hey man, store policy, my boss could walk through that door at any moment, and if he sees somebody painting something that isn't Games Workshop, I'm going to get reprimanded, so do you mind putting that away? Right? Nobody who is reasonable and a decent person would refuse that request. Right? If a manager came up to you and said, look, man, I can get into real trouble if my boss comes in and sees you doing that with that model, do you mind putting it away? Absolutely no one's going to have a problem with that. Literally, and if they do have a problem with that, then you ask them to leave because that person is unreasonable and is, it probably shouldn't be in the store because they're just going to cause problems down the line. And so if that GW manager has just come out and asked you to leave straight away, that is his fault. He shouldn't have done that. He should have asked you to put it away first. Or if this message has been ad-libbed in some way and he did ask you to put it away, but you haven't put it here, I don't know. But from what you've told me, yeah, he was out of order to ask you to leave straight away. But, again, you really should know, hey, maybe I shouldn't go into a Games Workshop store and use non-Games Workshop models to do anything of any sort, because the official policy is, don't do that. Next is a story from Gymno Gips. Anyway. My horror story is from many years ago. A new GW was scheduled to open up on my drive home from work. Oh, sweet. I was super excited because at the time, this was the closest friendly local game store, and dropping by would break up my brutal commute. So I placed a web order, paid online, and requested to pick up the new at the new store. Order was for the newly released Chakax, don't know what that is, and another new Lizardmen blister. Oh, okay, so this is a while ago. Okay, fair enough. A few days later, I checked my order online and saw it was ready for pickup. This was prior to even the grand opening, so I was expecting the normal, very friendly, enthusiastic GW atmosphere. In fact, I was looking forward to it due to the crappy drive. So I get there, and the immediate atmosphere is standoffish, no greeting. The GW guy looks up with neutral expression. Regardless, I'm cheerful and happy, and go straight to the counter, super excited to pick up my order. I say, hi, I'm so happy you've all opened this location. The response is, oh, okay. I kind of tilt my head and continue. So I have a web order for pickup. Response, we don't have it. Immediate response, no bother to look. I said, no, I checked my web account. It says it was delivered here. GW guy says, did you get a call from us? Me, no. GW guy, then we don't have it. Me, but there's my printout saying it's here for pickup. GW guy rolling his eyes. Oh, that is you. Your order didn't have a phone number. You should learn how to enter. You should learn how to enter it. Me, stunned. I did. I didn't know why it didn't go through. Maybe something is wrong with the system. Anyway, can I have my order? GW guy with contempt. Fine, I'll get it, but you need to enter your phone number. Me. Why? I'm here. You have the items. Can I just have my stuff, please? GW guy sneers. He walks to the back. I'm really, really puzzled at this point, but I chalk it up to the dude having a bad day. Whatever. So I go to another guy in street clothes sitting nearby, painting the newly released Stegodon. Oh wow, this is a while ago, about 10 years ago. I tried to strike up a convo about the new Lizardmen, excitement about the new releases, about painting, the mini, anything. Nothing but monosyllable responses, snotty, condescending. As it turns out, this is another GW employee in on personal time. Other GW guy comes back, and I'm still trying. I ask if they have heard anything about some rumour on the internet, completely light and open, and just say, hey, have you guys heard anything about... Can't remember what I said now. GW guy, where did you hear that? Me, Dakar or Warsier. Kind of interesting, that's all. GW guy, the internet is for losers. Anyone on the internet is a troll. He is clearly targeting this comment directly at me. Other guy, heh, yeah, internet is for losers. Again, targeted directly at me. These guys are so nasty they don't even get the irony that I was lambasted for not working the internet correctly, phone number, but then I'm trolling for being on the internet. At this point, I was completely offended. I silently pay and leave. I am ready right and then to quit and sell every GW product that I own. And if I can't sell it, burn it. Okay. I talked to a friend who knows regional manager. Regional manager asked me to come to lunch, apologises, and comps me Stegodon. Yes! There's always one. I keep telling you guys, there's always one. For every dickhead, there's always one of these. Get in there. Okay, I find out later that they were both fired, not because of this, but I'm still relieved they aren't around anymore. Regional manager kept me involved in GW, but I still will not step foot in that store. It can rot for all I care. Okay, alright, so... Oh, 1 second. If I feel a sneeze coming on, then I will, make sure it all goes away. So, anyway. As I've said to you guys many, many, many times that, for every dickhead who works at GW, there's another guy, who steps up and puts the fire out. Normally, that was me and a few others who were working in my GW at the time. The one I didn't run. And basically my job as a GW manager was to put out fires for most of the time. Fires caused by other Games Workshops and other people working at Games Workshop who would come in and get really pissed off with me like it was my fault because I'm wearing the same t-shirt. But yeah, the fact that this guy went out of his way to comp you Stegodon, really cool stuff. Top man. And you know what? Maybe it seems like you're a bit angry here, and I can see why you're angry. But at the same time, it's just a store, dude. Just head back in there. There's no problem. Just go back. All right. So Samus Aran 115. Hello. Thank you for sending in your lovely story. I was at my local GW. And it was storming like crazy outside. The lights were flickering, so it was kind of hard to play our game. So we left our armies on the table and went to get some chow at the local Taco Bell. We came back, and the whole store was a bloodbath. Red shirts were covered in blood, but they're red shirts, so you couldn't really tell. And all the other players were thrown into a heap of the... Okay, right, this is a load of bollocks. Okay, fine. Alright, so Experiment 626. By the way, if you send me a troll one, I will just stop reading it. You're not going to get your 5 minutes of fame, sorry. Well, this is from the opposite side of the coin from when I worked in a local store before it closed. Ooh, another employee. Alright. Construction workers cut our internet cable on purpose. They were told which lines to leave the hell alone, and bright neon red tape affixed to all internet wires in their work areas. 5 days before Christmas. We went for 11 total days with no ability to process debit or credit transactions, including a 6-hour stint on the last Saturday before Christmas with no till at all. Handwritten cash only transactions worked out on calculators. Wow, that is a nightmare. That is a nightmare. As somebody who's, anyone who's worked in retail will know how much of a nightmare that is. But Games Workshop's biggest period, especially if you're a manager, is this period. Is Christmas. We basically start planning for Christmas. I'd say late summer. Late summer, we start planning for Christmas. That's how big of a deal it is. In fact, the retail workshop that is just after summer, just as we're entering into, we're not even into autumn yet, but we're still in summer, late summer, is geared towards what are you going to do for Christmas? Okay, how are you going to do this? How are you going to do that? How to set up your store for Christmas? So, anyway, so construction workers cut our internet lines twice more after that first incident. Each time forcing our store's provider to come in with their own work crews to replace about 3 football fields length of cable. Fucking hell. Massive power outages became the order of the day and hitting the clockwork at least once every 2 weeks. Our till exploded at one point, completely fried, and HQ had to ship us an entire new computer. Good thing we had a lot of training in how to handwrite and calculate those orders. Yeah, that's true, that's true. I like how you're looking at the bright side. A new elevator went in front of the store. Yippee. More traffic to take advantage of, right? 6 weeks of an open air, stinking, crap-filled mud hole with the smell constantly wafting into our store later. We were thinking our next store event will be something like Klingon death matches in a sandpit. Oh, then we get told 15 minutes prior to close one night that the welding crew would be coming in and we needed a fire watch due to the likelihood of flying sparks overnight. Yeah, that's illegal. That's illegal. Yeah, your company cannot ask you to work mandatory overtime. If it's overnight, they just can't do that. It's illegal. So, I don't know when this story is from, but yeah, like especially if you're from the UK, yeah, that's totally illegal, man. You're not allowed to do that. But hopefully, hopefully this is a while ago, so you don't need to go through any legal stuff. But that's bullshit. That's really, really, really bad. If GW asked me to do that, I'd walk out the store. I'd just lock up and say, "Hey, welders, come back tomorrow. See you later," and I'd just leave. I'd just leave. I wouldn't stay around. Like it's my store. Yeah. What do you need to weld at midnight? No, I'm leaving. I'm finished now. I'm locking up the store. If you like, you can go get somebody from our, because GW does have a incidents team who will come out and they'll go to your store and they'll make sure that things are running smoothly and that you've got internet and the windows aren't smashed. I had my windows smashed once. I had to call them. Yeah, GW never once asked me to do anything like that. I'm not saying this didn't happen to you, by the way. I'm just giving you my own experience. Yeah, Games Workshop never ever asked me to do anything like that. I never had to stay behind. I was never asked to stay behind until ridiculous hours. I would do things on my own volition. But if they ever said to me, "Yeah, you need to stay here all night," I'd be like, "Bye, lock the door," and leave. The mall ordered the wrong size of stairs for said escalator, so the crews had to grind down those steel stairs during mall hours. Fucking hell. The escalator was bigger than anticipated and thus blocked off our storefront from view of the upper levels. So much for extra traffic. Jesus Christ, dude. A new receiving bay went in behind our store. When the douchebags applying the chemical sealant to the concrete floors had finished, they vented the very unhealthy fumes straight into our store. Fucking Jesus. My manager and I got pretty ill. The other red shirt working that day got very high, and then very ill. Oh, and mall admin forced to stay open all day despite not venturing anywhere near our end. The bay closing off their mall entrance to protect their... Oh, you're obviously in California. To protect their shoppers, and it would still take about 2 hours to fully vent the fumes out of the mall. We shut down and went to the hospital to get checked out, obviously. Numerous small fires started by the construction crews. Smaller chemical spills that made the air taste like everything from rotten fish to a well-used latrine. Okay. Wow. Wow. Okay, yeah, so that seems like a cursed store, if there ever was one. So, John Garrett, a fellow Brit. So, it was about 18 months ago. This may not be word perfect, but the conversation went something like this. I was sitting by a table. at GW. Something I'd received special permission to do because I have an injured knee and back, and was obviously in pain. Due to said knee and back, my painkillers were taking time to kick in, so, since there wasn't a table, there were only two to around a dozen people. There were only two to around a dozen people. I was sitting and watching a couple of my mates having a game when the GW employee approaches. GW employee, you okay? John, yeah, just in a lot of pain today, don't feel brilliant, bit of a headache as well. Red shirt, well, you should head home then. John, well, I might well in a bit, I'll just see which of these two wins. Games Workshop employee, nah, you should go home now, people aren't going to want to come into the store if you're there looking sick. John, alright. Bear in mind, this is around 6:30 in the evening. I should possibly mention that this Game GW employee and I did not get on especially well since. Soon after meeting him, I asked him if it was true that GW were going to put out FAQs for the fantasy armies. This was just after 8th, and I'd read the rumour here. He largely announced in front of the store, packed for veterans that night, that no, there was nothing coming out and that I shouldn't listen to the internet. GW employees were always the first to hear about the stuff and the only ones to know reliably about it. I figured, fair enough. It was literally the next day the FAQs were released. He never seemed to like me much after that. Okay. So, yeah. First of all, like you know, most rumors on the internet, as you just said there, you said that you heard about those rumors on the internet. Yeah, most rumors are, yeah, kind of bullshit. Unless you can kind of ferret out the ones that are going to be like proper actual rumors, you know, actual things, because they'll be from sources that are at GW, and a lot of YouTubers like Valrak and people like that, they have sources that actually do corroborate things for them. Obviously not named sources, but there you go. I have sources too, but I'm not, you know, you never name these people because they'll get sacked, and that's not a nice thing to do. So, so yeah, looking at this, I mean, I do not understand why somebody would say that to you. Like, why someone would say you need to leave because you're looking ill. I would say you should probably leave because, you know, I don't want you keeling over in the store and I want to get you some help. You know, but I'd never like be that much of a dick. Like, there was a guy who came into the store that I used to work in, but I wasn't the manager. This is one I was just working in, and he was very, very overweight, and he would struggle like standing up and things, you know, for long periods of time. And my manager really didn't like this guy. Like, he used to say, no, you're just lazy. You can't sit at the gaming table. That's not what these are for, you know. Because my manager was very like that. He was like that with he had no empathy for people who made bad life decisions, if you know what I'm saying. So if somebody was fat or was quite, you know, slutty or anything like that, you know, he would have no empathy for any problems they were going through because they got themselves into that mess. So fuck them, they're weak, sort of a thing, right? So yeah, his attitude was very much, if this guy's in here, he's not allowed to sit down. He needs to, you know, stand here and play the games like everybody else. And if he can't do that, then he should just go and lose some weight. You know, basically, was his attitude. Needless to say, when the manager wasn't there, I let him sit wherever he fucking wanted to sit, because I'm not a prick. But, like, at the other end of the spectrum, yeah, I could see why it would annoy a manager who doesn't want people, you know, edging past this really fat dude who's sitting down taking up a lot of space. I can see why that would be annoying to him. But there are bigger fish to fry in the world, if you know what I'm saying. There are bigger things to be going over than that. So, Mr. Killiam. Okay. I used to manage a friendly local game store. We had our fair share of shitheads. Okay, I'm going to sneeze. 1 second. Alright. Yu-Gi-Oh! Players were my least favourite group. Yeah, ditto, my friend. Always wanted to look through binders, never bought booster packs, got pissed off any time a card was more than 20 cents, called it a rip-off. Most often they'd pick out about $20 worth of cards from the binder and get confused and angry after they tried to pay me with $2 in nickels, and I told them no. Most of them were pillheads anyway, always on the mod. Okay, always on the nod, sorry. We also were right by a huge army base, and soldiers love 40k. Yeah, they do, man. Soldiers absolutely adore... They adore two things, soldiers. EVE Online and Warhammer 40k. definitely. I've served so many. I've been proud to serve so many servicemen in my time working at game stores. One of my regulars, a Green Beret, is hanging out. I didn't give a damn about people openly carrying handguns in the store as long as they weren't jackasses about it. So obviously you're in America somewhere. SF guy kept it in the holster. So this is the guy who he's talking about. Everything was chill. Autistic douchebag, who had been waiting to ban for a while, starts ranting about how nobody should be allowed to own a firearm. He gets in SF guy's face. SF keeps his cool, Special Forces guy, keeps his cool and asks him to leave. I ask him to leave, or I'll call the police. Ortis goes to grab SF's gun from its holster. My first thought is, fuck, this kid is about to get shot in my store. He manages to touch it, but SF has Ortis' arm behind his back and is physically removing him from the store in an instant. Ortis threw a chair at the glass door and broke it once he was outside. We call the cops. Ortis spends the night in jail. We later found out that his mother just dropped him off on Saturday mornings and would pick him up in the evening. Oh, yeah. Which is why he was in my store all day. She gave us some cash for the broken door. We told her he wasn't allowed in here again. 6 months later, he came back and promised he'd changed. Said promise lasted about half an hour. He started screaming about the gun I was buying from SF guy. I kicked him out again. Much ring until cops arrived. Fuck's sake. So, yeah. I'm very, very, very low to have a go at people with autism because, you know, you got to walk a mile in other people's shoes, of course. And, you know, it can be something that people really, really, really struggle with. And impulse control, things like that. But this kid looked like he was about to absolutely get a lead injection. But good on Special Forces guy here for being calm and just removing the threat from the scenario. It's being, yeah, you can go over there, thank you. I mean, yeah. One thing on Yu-Gi-Oh players is when I was working in the friendly local game store, our main culprits of shoplifting were actually if you like Yu-Gi-Oh, okay, right? I'm not saying it to you, just you in particular, but you know, they do have a propensity and a reputation for being little shitheads and for stealing things and for being toxic and for, you know, bringing things to tournaments that are generally, you know, unbeatable and being very bad winners and very bad losers and breaking things and arguing and fighting. We would have it all the time. All the time. And I've never played Yu-Gi-Oh! In my life. And so I couldn't even go over there and say, hey, you know, what's going on? This guy brought this thing and it's terrible. And okay, well, fine. I don't know. But, like, just shut your mouth and stop shouting, you know? So I was not even the best person to go and deal with that. It's probably why I don't like them that much. But even when I was in my own friendly local game store just last week, and I was trying to play a game of Warhammer 40k against the Chaos player, and we had the Yu-Gi-Oh guys were off in the corner playing their Yu-Gi-Oh, which is fine, till they're taking their break. And when they're taking their break, what they like to do is come over and fuck with the wargamers. So they'll come over and just start picking up models from tables. And they'll start commenting on people's paint jobs, and they'll start commenting on games, and you know, and telling people what to do, even though they got no notion of what the rules are. Basically, general high school bullying tactics from people who are ranging from 13 years old to like 35 years old, right? Again, pathetic behaviour. Normally, with somebody like me, and you know, as in a normal person who would quite happily throw them through a window. If they came anywhere near my models, they tend to leave me alone and leave my games alone. But the amount of times I've had to cast around looks of, you're annoying me, stop, even if they're not on my table causing shit, is beyond me. So, you know, I would say to people who say, well, I play Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'm not like that, and I've never had a problem, well, that's fine, and I'm really happy for you, and I'm really happy that that's how it works out. But most of them that I come across are shitheads, and they really annoy me. Unfortunately, you know. But you know, you enjoy your game, and I'm sure you have a lot more horror stories than I do about your own community. So you know, and God knows people said that about 40k to me sometimes as well. So Yeah, servicemen in stores, like, if it's legal to own a firearm where you are, I've had police people come into my store before, right? I've had armed policemen come into my store before and walk around and have a look around, because they're 40k players, right? I've had a guy, so we once had a security scare in the centre of town, and he had an MP5, you know, one of those, you know what it is, you know what an MP5 is, and he had, he was all in black, and he had, had all the gear on. And he walked in, and he was armed with it. He was walking around with it and just talking and walking around. And he came over to me and said, "Look, do you mind if I just have a look around? I can't put this away because I'm on duty, but I've got to go into all the stores. But I love 40k anyway, so I might come back after my shift and buy some stuff." I was like, "Yeah, cool, no problem." But the fact that he did that was such a cool thing to do. The fact that he came over and said, "Look, I realise it might be best for your business because there's a police officer walking around here with a fucking automatic rifle. What do I do? Can I come in and walk around and have a look?" Of course, he was allowed to because I'm very proud to have people like that in my store. But yeah, like, and he did come back and buy some stuff anyway. He bought some skeletons later on. Anyway, so all right, so I've got a normal one here. People will know exactly the kind of person I'm talking about when we go into this next one. So, number one, this is from Peter Taylor. Hello, Peter Taylor. Local Spurg leather trench coat. All right, always telling people they're doing things wrong. Always telling people what they should have done instead. Always telling people what they should be changing. When people are waiting outside for the store to open, he will barge ahead of them. Not before the door opens, but as soon as the door opens, he will loudly grunt, "Excuse me," and push people aside. Staff are sick of dealing with him. Playing a game and he comes over, tells me my Crimson Fists are painted wrong. Tell him once again it's my army, I can paint it however I want. He refuses to leave the game table, spends the next 20 minutes trying to give his advice. Most of his advice is, you wouldn't be having this problem if you had taken this army instead. Go to the store next door for a drink. Come back and see my CM, my chapter master, is missing from the table. Tell a staff member. Tell him I suspect Spurg boy. We both look over at the painting table and his tubby ass is hunched over as if he's hiding something. Staff member tells him to turn around. Pretends not to hear us. Staff member walks over and physically pulls him back. My chapter master now has half a shitty blue paint job. Spurg gets banned from the store. Manager gets a call. Comes in on his day off and helps me repaint it very graciously. Well, I have some stories like this that I've not even gone over before, but I hate people like this. That seems to me like a behavioural disability. It really does. Like, it seems like a mental illness because I do not understand people who do that. But I have caught people in similar situations where they've literally stolen somebody else's models, or they've felt that they could, like, take a piece of scenery and just start painting it. They just have no boundaries. The only one that I had that was really bad was a kid who'd come in and his mum would leave him there. And his mum was, like, super, super MILF, like, really, really hot. So I was like, yeah, whatever, you can leave the kid here, it's fine. So, he would do stuff and paint and do whatever he wanted to do. Anyway, he goes over to the intro table, and I notice when I'm trying to give an intro game that our Death Guard commander, I forget what his name is, Plague Bearer? No, not Plague Bearer. Anyway, you know what the model I'm thinking. He's the one with the axe with like the spinny bits in it, right? And like the really nice smoke coming off the top of his model. So yeah, he is not on the table. So I look over and lo and behold, there he is painting this model on the table because he doesn't like the colours on it. He likes Ultramarines and he's painting them as Ultramarines. And I just head over there and take the model off him and tell him that he shouldn't be doing stuff like that. Don't ban him. He's like 12. But I do say to his mum at the end of the night, look, this happened. I can't have this happen again, so, that sort of a thing. That's like one of the worst ones that I've actually had. But I have had many stories like that, but none of them as bad as this. Absolutely, and good on the manager for coming in and repainting it for you. I think the better thing for him to do would be just to say, look, like what I would do in the situation if this happened to me and to somebody else's models. The only time I've done it before, and I'll expand on this in the next few videos, not now because we're already running on for time. But this did happen to a model in the store, which was essentially stolen and then brought back and left because the person had a pang of conscience or whatever and had left it there, and it had been half painted in somebody else's colours. When I say half painted, undercoated again without the paint being ripped off, and you know it looked terrible essentially. So this was Call, by the way. Belisarius Call. So I replaced the Call model and said, look, if you want help, because I know you want your own, HQ. If you want help, I can help you converting this Core model, or you can just go and have exactly the same model again. And he elected to have me help him, go in the bits box and let's go over it and let's see what you can do with this Core model. So we created this really, really cool Core model on a little bit of a bigger base, and he just looked like this mechadendrite thing, just everything spawning all over the place. Looked pretty cool though, and that's basically what I would have done rather than coming on my day off and help you repaint it. I think I would have just given you a new model and been like, yeah, there you go, and help you get stuff done. So, all right, last one, and this is a very short one. All Metal Army. Sorry, this is from Jeff Bezos' friend. Okay. All Metal Army, new staff member, joined in the midst of the the Finecast debacle. He's been working for 2 days. Some kid picks up my metal dreadnought, drops it. It breaks apart, as metal models do. New staff member comes over and yells at the kid. Tell him it's fine, it happens, and models are easy to put back together. He looks at me weirdly. Metal models? Yeah, metal models. My whole army's metal. It's easy to repair. He says, we don't sell any metal models. Well, no, obviously not anymore, but pack up your shit, you're banned, I'm calling the manager. Fuck. I obviously didn't get banned, but that guy gave me the most half-hearted apology ever. He obviously didn't want to do it. That's pretty much when I stopped going in. I got a message from the manager on Facebook, but I never answered it. Well, okay. So I've had to do this crawling back a few times when either a staff member or another customer has upset somebody. I did have it once where, I think I've said this before about the Titan guy, because Titan guy, if you look on my older videos, he actually did go on the internet afterwards and complain. Everyone was saying, oh, name and shame the manager, and he did. And as soon as he did, people were sending me fucking hate mail. So I had to go on there and basically say, look, this is what happened. He's lied, essentially. This is what happened. I have witnesses to prove it as well, And here is my store. Feel free to come in and talk about it. No one ever did, because these are keyboard warriors. They've got no interest in actually having a dialogue with somebody who's actually there right in front of them, because they chit themselves. But yes, if you do get something like that from a store where somebody wants to talk to you and apologise for something, just answer them, dude. There's no point in not doing it. Because you never know. It could be an honest mistake, and it seems like to me that was an honest mistake, and the manager handled it quite well. So those are today's. I've got another 30. I tell you what. I'm going to accrue a lot of these stories, all right? I'm going to let them accrue for a while. And maybe once a week, we'll do a full hour's worth of stories. Maybe. We'll see. All right? So, that is me for the day. Love you guys long time. Have a wonderful day. And I'll speak to you next time. Have a good one.